big US tech, right? It took them years to achieve hyper-local sensitivity. When you launch in Japan in Japanese, right? Within 2 years, they did 75% of the country, social media market. Whereas before it's available in Japanese, no one really uses it, right? Even though it's the same product. Point being, there is language is a very important and nuanced thing to get right. And your users will appreciate it if you take the time and effort to localize it to a local flavor so that you really feel like the product's for you. And that level of brand intimacy, if you can do it, is actually really powerful. There's always a tension between how far do you do that versus how much do you invest so that at the end of the day, you see a positive ROI. And sometimes you might not even see a positive ROI, right? So you as a business person, you need to make that call then, right? Is that worth it? I think this applies to not just spending overseas, but just startups in general, right? Startups are really tough, and just know that your experience is not unique to just yourself, and you are going through a process that's quite common, right? And the differentiator between you and the next guy then is grit, right? How resilient you are, how gritty you are, and a lot of that really just comes from that, persistence. The other thing is, like, as I talk about data-driven mindsets, I talk about having the kind of growth mindset. A lot of that comes from the willingness and ability to be curious and learn. There's no single silver bullet to solve a lot of problems, right? Including if you talk about expanding overseas, going beyond your borders. A lot of that is about challenging assumptions and re-challenging them again, right? Because what you find that had worked in your home country might not work in a different context or time and space. But having the willingness to listen to feedback, from especially, your customers is actually really crucial, right? And implement that really quickly is very crucial, which means to say, being open-minded about feedback, about, things that might not match your worldview, but it's a fact anyway. Just put your ego aside, take that as a learning and move forward with that, right? And I think that should be quite important too.